everyone, Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Porter, with you today. Thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. Today we're going to create this rainbow, fun, happy art by Marlene journal page. So I'll take you through what I've used. I've used the new border leaves cutting die. I've used the smooth all-round paper. I've also used a few of the elements from the Series 2 booklet. I've used a quote from the awesome golden oldie sticky quotes. And I've used some of the new stamps. So I had to go with the Hippie buses again and use the other stamp. This time I used the other one last time. And then also the Playful Flowers stamp and the new stripy and patterns paper pad. I've used the glue. I've used Marlene's watercolours. And I've also, the smooth paper I'm using will fit into my perfect size art journal. And then I've used a stack of art by Marlene markers. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so because I used the other one last time, I thought I'll use the bus this time. And I just decided to do something rainbowy just because that's very me, and I hadn't sort of created a rainbow with this new collection yet. So I decided to stamp the bus using my stamp press, which was a great idea because I didn't do a very good job the first time. So it just means I can put it back exactly on the page and get a perfect image. So those things, even though sometimes I am impatient to drag them out, those stamp presses are just fantastic. Okay, so I grabbed the watercolours this time. I often use acrylic paints, but I just thought I'd have a bit of a play with the watercolours. Really easy for making a rainbow. So I'm just using rainbow colours and just simply drawing straight onto the page. I'm not letting each layer dry, so I don't mind if some of my colours merge into each other a little bit. I think that kind of makes that rainbow look a little bit artsy. Yeah, so while I'm doing this, let's talk about the new range. Isn't it fabulous? It's been out a couple of weeks now. I always film, in advance, so it's quite fresh when I'm filming this one. I'm wondering if you've got your hands on stuff yet. I mean, those buses are super cute. Yeah, I just love them. And yeah, the paper pad is awesome. I always use the paper pads over and over and over. So yeah, I'd love to know what you've treated yourself with. And yeah, there's so much I want to create with, and I've got lots of ideas. So there's just not enough time in the week for me to create everything I want to. So now you can see I've done the rainbow, and I added a bit of grass to the bottom. And when you're using grass on the bottom, I always use a few blends of green. It probably doesn't show up very well on the video, but I have used, so it's not flat, I've used, light green, some dark green in places, and it ends up a lovely wash of sort of mottled green. So now I start colouring in the bus. Originally I had a plan that I would go sort of rainbow through the rainbow colours on the bus as well. But once I started playing, sometimes it just takes over. It just happens and all your plans go out the window. So I'm just using the watercolours to colour it in. I think I've mentioned a few times, I'm not super confident with colouring in. I'm really grateful when Marlene does her stamps that she adds a little bit of shading in a few areas. And I use that as my guide as to where to put sort of more oomph of colour and to let it fade out in other areas. Yeah, and I guess like everything, it's practice, practice, practice. And it's something I need to just do more of so I get more confident with it. So I'm almost finishing colouring the little bus. I kind of struggled a little bit with the rainbow behind the bike and some of the areas, and I came back in and added a few bits of colour just to tidy that bit up a bit. So now I'm coming in with green and just sort of doing some dabs of colour so it looks a little bit like grass. I do have other plans for the grassy area, so this is really just to create some shadows and some shading into my creation. So now I come in with coloured pencils. I won't talk too much. These are Inktense coloured pencils, and I'm just adding some of the little finer details in and just building on some of those shadows. So some of the, some of the more stronger areas of colour I add using the pencils on top of the watercolour. So you do need to dry your watercolour before you come in. Although because these are Inktense, they get wet and they sort of go stronger, so it doesn't really matter too much. But generally, as a rule, I try and dry off before I come in with this part. So I'll stop talking and I'll just let you watch the video, and yeah, I'll come back in when something else happens. Oh, which is now. I'm back. Okay, so now I'm just coming in with the markers and I'm just matching them to the colour in the rainbow. So I'm using the red marker on the red paint, and I'm just adding a few little brush marks, really simple, a few little hearts, lines, dots, nothing too complicated. With the yellow, I actually just coloured it in just to give that yellow a bit more oomph. And then I just continue through the colours, and while I've got the green, I add some grass in, and I will come back and add some dots to the grass for little flowers. At some point I do that. Yep, here we go, adding in some flowers. The markers are fantastic. I love that I never have to prime them. They never dry. I haven't had any of that experience. They just are ready to go at all times. And I like that they're quite opaque, so they sit on top of the colour that I've put underneath, which is awesome. So now I'm just creating the sky just with some of the blue watercolour. And now I decide to add these, the border dies. I really love that little, I love them both actually, but the border leaves, I cut them out of the paper pad. So there's a green, sort of a lime green and a dark green stripe, and there's a blue and a jadey colour stripe. And so I had little leftover bits of those, and I cut these leaves out of that, and they look really cute with the little stripes on them. So I've trimmed them off of because I'm not using them as an edge of a border. I'm cutting them off and using them as embellishment. So I'm scattering them throughout the bottom of the page. And then I decide, of course, this bus, it's all lonesome by itself. It needs some occupants. So I'll go through that Series 2 paper pad. So for any of you that did the class retreat with me in May for Natalie May scrapbooking, you got heaps of this book and heaps left over. And this booklet has smaller images, which I quite like, so they fit well into the bus. So I've got a giraffe as a driver, and a little doggy, a snail, and a pufferfish are all in the bus. And I've sort of trimmed them just to sit, so they look like they're inside the bus. So the way I did that was just laid them where I wanted them, just use a pencil to mark off where the sort of, window lines are, and then just trimmed that and glued them on. So now it's just time to finish up by gluing down all my other little bits and pieces. But yeah, I really like that the bus giraffe, because of his long neck, his head is coming out of the bus as he's driving, and really cute, quirky. Some of Marlene's characters are so quirky, and I love that they're sitting in my rainbow bus. So now, just to finish off the detail in the grass, is it called Playful flowers? Yes, it is. I do also put all the list of all the product codes in the description. So if you need to find anything to order, just go and have a look at that. But there's little stamps in there that I'm going to just use to death, of just little hearts, sort of like doodled flower hearts, blossoms that I love. So I've scattered them throughout, and then I end up adding white into the centre of the hearts, and I'm just going back around the black borders of that, and just filling in a few little details with a black pen. Now I look for a quote, and the quote that I've used is stop to see the beauty along the way. And I thought, given that there was a rainbow, it was essential that this bus full of characters stops to enjoy that rainbow. So now I'm just adding a touch of black to around the hearts. I don't do this to all of the doodling that I've done on the rainbow, just some of it, just so there's a little bit of black in the foreground and a little bit in the background as well. And that is about it. So I will leave you with close-ups. So this is just a fun, fairly quick and easy page. The rainbows are super easy to create, and but they look great. So I will leave you with this one. Thanks so much for stopping by. As always, I'd love to hear from you and hear what you think. And I'll see you again soon with another video. Thanks. Bye.